Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Please hit the subscribe button and give this episode a thumbs hell. Watch the video till the story begins on a warm afternoon in Georgia when the news quietly started moving through the small town. People were talking in half whispers, some laughing in disbelief, some shaking their heads like they already knew something crazy was coming. Because when it came to Mama June, nothing ever stayed normal for long, and this time the surprise was bigger than anything the family had seen in years. A secret wedding, a wedding no one knew about. Not even her own daughters, who had been through every rise and fall with her. Pumpkin was the first to feel that something was strange. She had been texting her mom since morning, but there was no reply, no voice message, no update, and that silence made her restless because June never stayed quiet this long. Even on her most chaotic days, she would at least send a voice note or an emoji just to show she was alive. But today the phone was just blank, like she had disappeared into the air. Honey Boo Boo was sitting on the couch with a bag of chips when Pumpkin stormed into the room and said, "Something is off. Mama is hiding something again. I feel it." And Honey Boo Boo looked up confused because she had no idea what Pumpkin was talking about. But the moment Pumpkin showed her the unanswered messages, both sisters exchanged the same old look, the look they had shared 100 times whenever June did something unpredictable. The look that meant buckle up because Mama is about to do something wild. Meanwhile, across town, June stood in front of a small mirror in a tiny event hall, her hand shaking slightly as she fixed a soft cream-colored dress. She kept whispering to herself that everything was going to be fine, that she had every right to love again, that she deserved a new start, but deep down she knew exactly why she had not told the girls, because she feared their reaction, she feared the anger, the judgment, the disappointment in their eyes. And today she wanted a moment that belonged only to her before the world crashed into it. Back at Pumpkin's house, Alana finally checked social media and froze, because a blurry photo had been posted by a friend of a friend showing June in a white dress, standing next to a decorated arch, holding flowers. The caption only said, "Guess who is getting married today?" And Alana screamed out, "Pumpkin, come here right now," because this photo was about to explode their entire world. Pumpkin grabbed the phone, stared at the picture, and said, no way she did this without telling us." She felt a mix of anger and heartbreak because they had worked so hard to rebuild their relationship. They had fought to bring stability back into their lives. And now June had once again chosen secrecy over family. It felt like history repeating itself in the worst way. At the same moment inside the event hall, June took a long breath and whispered to her groom that she hoped the girls would one day understand. She said she wanted a simple ceremony free from drama, free from cameras, free from shouting or arguments. She wanted a quiet moment to choose love, because her whole life had been loud, messy, and scattered, and for the first time she wanted something peaceful, even if it meant hurting the people she loved the most. Pumpkin and Alana got into the car, both shaking with shock, both arguing about what to do next. Alana said we should go right now and confront her. Pumpkin said, "No, this is not a moment to fight. We need to breathe first." But her voice cracked because inside she was hurting more than she wanted to admit. She felt betrayed. She felt blindsided. She felt like the mother she had been trying to fix had slipped away again. Inside the hall the music started playing, soft and slow, something June had picked because it reminded her of her childhood, a time before the noise, before the fame, before the addictions and heartbreaks and broken relationships. And as she walked toward the aisle she smiled nervously. But the smile faded when she noticed her hands trembling. Because even though she wanted happiness, she could not ignore the empty seats where her daughters should have been. Honey Boo Boo and Pumpkin finally reached the venue. They stood outside the doors breathing hard, unsure whether to walk in or walk away. The sound of the music made Alana emotional. She whispered, "Can't believe she didn't want us here." Pumpkin clenched her jaw and said maybe she thought we wouldn't approve. Maybe she thought we'd stop her, but that didn't make the pain any softer. Inside, the minister started his opening words. June's eyes glistened because the moment felt real and unreal at the same time. She thought about her past relationships, the toxic fights, the public embarrassment, the addiction she battled, the mistakes she couldn't erase, and she told herself that this wedding was symbolic. It was a promise to start again. Buta part of her felt incomplete without the girls. Then it happened. The church door opened slightly and June turned her head instinctively. For a moment she hoped she would see Pumpkin and Alana standing there, maybe angry, maybe confused, but still there, still present, still hers. But instead it was just a gust of wind slipping through the crack before the door shut again, and June felt her heart sink like a stone. Outside, the girls were pacing back and forth, debating whether to walk in and witness the ceremony or wait until it finished and confront her afterward. Pumpkin said, "I don't want to ruin her moment, but I don't want to pretend this is okay either." Alana wiped her tears and said, "I just wanted to see her happy, but not like this, not behind our backs." Back inside the vow exchange began. June's voice trembled as she promised loyalty, understanding, and a peaceful future, but each word carried a weight she couldn't shake. She kept imagining Pumpkin's disappointed face, Alana's hurt eyes, and the quiet pain of not having her own daughters witnessing her turning point, the moment she hoped would bring a new beginning. The groom held her hands tightly, telling her it's okay, that everything will be fine, that the girls will come around, but June wasn't sure, because deep down she knew trust once broken never returns the same. It comes back changed, cautious, fragile, and today she had cracked that trust again. Outside the sun was slowly setting, leaving the two sisters standing in the warm orange glow, and for the first time they realized this was not just a secret wedding, it was a turning point in their story too. A moment that would either pull the family together or tear it further apart, and nothing after this day would ever be the same. When the ceremony inside finally reached the moment of exchanging rings, the atmosphere was quiet but heavy. Every soft note of the music seemed to echo inside June's heart because she knew the emptiest part of the room was the part meant for her daughters. The empty chairs felt louder than any guest's breath, louder than the vows, louder than her own heartbeat. It was a reminder that love gained in secret often costs something precious, something you cannot replace easily. Outside, Pumpkin was pacing in circles while holding her phone tightly. She had typed at least 10 messages to her mother but deleted every one before sending. She didn't know what to say, she didn't know whether to cry or scream or walk away, and the silence between her and Alana kept stretching heavier and heavier, like they were both waiting for each other to decide what to do. Alana finally broke the silence and said, "Pumpkin, we can't stand here all day while she's in there getting married without us." Her voice was shaky but stronger than before. She continued saying, "If we are hurt we should tell her, if we are angry we should face her, if we love her we should still show up, but standing outside like strangers doesn't make it better." Pumpkin looked at her younger sister and felt a deep ache, because Alana had already been through enough in life, enough separations, enough disappointments, enough broken promises, and she didn't deserve another blow. Pumpkin sighed and said, "Okay, let's go inside, but remember we are going in as daughters, not enemies. We are going to talk, not fight," even though her own heart was boiling with mixed emotions. Before they stepped in, Pumpkin held Alana's hand and took a long breath. She didn't know if they were ready, but she knew they had to try, because running away hadn't helped them in the past, and ignoring the problem now would only create a bigger distance later, a distance they might never be able to fix. Inside the hall, June was smiling faintly at her groom, trying her best to focus on the moment, but her eyes kept drifting toward the door as if expecting something, anything, a familiar shadow, a silhouette of one of her girls, a chance to believe that maybe they understood her heart, but the door stayed quiet, and her hope began to fade slowly. Just as the minister said, "You may seal this union with a kiss," the main door opened slightly. The soft creak instantly pulled every pair of eyes toward the entrance, and June's heart skipped like it had hit a wall. She tightened her grip on the bouquet. Her breath caught halfway, because she knew this moment held more power than anything else that happened today. Pumpkin stepped inside first, her face stiff but her eyes filled with emotion she was trying to hide. Alana followed right behind her, clutching the strap of her bag nervously, her cheeks slightly red from the confusion and the hurt, and as the two daughters entered the hall the quiet murmurs of the guests faded into complete silence. June froze, her eyes instantly filling with unshed tears. She didn't expect them, she didn't think they would come, she had convinced herself that they had chosen to stay away, but seeing them standing there felt like a miracle, wrapped inside guilt, wrapped inside relief, wrapped inside every emotion she had been running from for years. Pumpkin didn't smile, she didn't wave, she didn't speak. She simply stood there waiting for June to react first, waiting for her mother to acknowledge the pain she had caused them, waiting for her to say something that could explain why she had kept something so big hidden from her own children. June whispered their names under her breath as she slowly stepped toward them. She wanted to hug them instantly, wanted to pull them close like she used to when they were kids, but she hesitated because she didn't know if they wanted that. She didn't know if touching them now would break them more. Alana's eyes were already watery. She tried to keep her voice steady, but when she finally spoke it cracked with emotion. She said, "Mama, why didn't you tell us? You know we would have come, you know we're always here for you, but you didn't trust us with something this big, and that hurt more than anything." June's lips trembled. She whispered, "Didn't want to ruin your peak. Didn't want you to feel stressed again. Whenever plans something big it turns into drama. Wanted a quiet moment for once. Wanted a day where nothing exploded, nothing went wrong, nothing was a mess." But somewhere inside she knew that reasoning wasn't enough. Pumpkin finally let her guard drop as she said, "Mama, we're your daughters. We deserve to know. Even if we disagree, even if we argue, we deserve to be part of your life. We fought so hard to rebuild this family and you kept us out of the biggest moment of your life. That feels like betrayal." June's heart cracked with their words because she knew they were right. She knew she should have told them. She knew she had made a choice born from fear, not love. She took Pumpkin's hands and said, "I'm sorry. Thought was protecting the moment, but I ended up hurting the people of most." The groom stood quietly behind them, watching the scene unfold. He didn't interrupt because he understood this wasn't about him. This was about years of emotional chaos, years of healing, years of trying to put the broken pieces back where they belonged, and today one wrong decision had scattered those pieces again. Alana wiped her cheeks and said, "Mama, we are not mad because you got married. We're mad because you didn't want us there. It felt like we didn't matter, like our presence wasn't important, and that's what broke us today." June stepped closer and gently touched Alana's cheek, her own voice cracking as she said, "You matter more than anything. Vi just made so many mistakes that sometimes I forget how to do things right. Pumpkin looked around the hall and said we're happy if you're happy, but next time don't leave us out, don't cut us away like we're outsiders. We've been through too much together to go backwards like this. June nodded slowly, holding both her daughter's hands, promising them silently that this mistake would not be repeated again. The guests watched the reunion with soft smiles because they knew the family had battled storms for years. They had seen the public fights, the messy headlines, the social media drama, and this quiet moment of reconciliation felt sweeter than any grand speech or perfect ceremony. It felt real, raw, and honest. The minister cleared his throat gently and asked if they would like to continue the ceremony with the girls present. June looked at Pumpkin and Alana with tears still shining in her eyes, silently begging them to stay, to be part of this moment, to fill the empty seats that had hurt her heart every second since the ceremony began. Pumpkin nodded slowly and said, "We're here now, Mama. Let's finish this together." Alana took a seat beside her sister, still sniffling softly but feeling lighter now that the truth was out, feeling relieved that they had chosen to come inside instead of walking away. June walked back to the aisle holding her bouquet a little tighter now. She felt complete in a way she hadn't felt in years because the two people she had feared losing the most were sitting right in front of her, watching her start a new chapter, and even though the past still lingered in the shadows, this moment felt like a small step toward healing. As the ceremony continued, the girls watched quietly, their emotions slowly settling, their anger softening, their love resurfacing through the hurt, and even though they still had questions, still had pain to unpack, they stayed, they supported, and they chose family over the chaos that had threatened to pull them apart. By the time the couple exchanged their final words and sealed the ceremony, the mood in the hall had shifted. It no longer felt like a secret event hidden from the world. It felt like a new beginning witnessed by the people who mattered most, even if they came late, even if it was messy, even if the tears were real. After the couple walked down the aisle together, the groom smiling proudly and June holding her bouquet like a promise she hoped she could keep, Pumpkin and Alana stayed seated for a moment, breathing slowly, trying to prepare for the conversation that needed to happen next. Because walking into the wedding was only the first step, the truth still had to be faced. June glanced over her shoulder several times as she walked out, as if checking whether her daughters were truly there or whether she had imagined them in a desperate hope, and when she saw them standing up to follow, her breath loosened a little, the weight on her chest softening just enough to let her smile grow real. Outside the hall the sun had faded and the sky turned into a mix of orange and purple. The whole place looked like a scene waiting for heartfelt conversations, and Pumpkin was the first to walk forward, her face serious yet calm, showing that she had something to say but was trying her best to hold her emotions steady. June approached them slowly, like she worried one wrong step might make them walk away again. She held her bouquet close and whispered, "Glad you came, really am," her voice shaking slightly, and Alana scanned her mother's face looking for answers instead of excuses, because this family had lived through enough excuses already. Pumpkin crossed her arms and said, "Mama, we didn't come here to smile and pretend everything is fine. We came because we love you, and because this is too big to ignore." June nodded with her eyes lowered because she already knew this conversation was coming. She had been rehearsing it in her mind all day, trying to find the right words and failing every time. Alana stepped forward with softer voice and said, "Why didn't you tell us, Mama? Not even a hint, not even a small message. It hurts to feel like you didn't want us here." June swallowed hard and said, "Was scared. Scared you'd judge me, scared you'd worry, scared you'd try to stop me, and didn't want another fight, didn't want this day to become another chaotic family moment." But Pumpkin shook her head slowly and said, "Mama, we've grown up. We're not little kids anymore. We don't scream and run anymore. We talk. We try to fix things. You could have trusted us. That's all we wanted." June's voice cracked as she said, "No. Must you put fear guide me again, and keep forgetting that hiding things hurts more than telling the truth." The groom finally walked up to stand beside June, giving the girls a respectful nod. He said, "Want you to know, didn't want a wedding without you too. Told her many times to invite you. But she kept saying she didn't want to burden you, didn't want to add stress to your lives." Pumpkin and Alana exchanged a surprised glance because they didn't know he had tried to include them. Pumpkin sighed deeply and said, "Mama, we don't need perfection. We need honesty. That's all we ever wanted from you. And when you hide something this big it makes us feel like we're not part of your world." June wiped the corner of her eye and whispered, "I'm sorry. Truly sorry. Can't erase what did, but want to what happens next." The air grew quiet as they walked together toward the small outdoor seating area lit with soft string lights. The glow felt gentle, like the night was trying to help them talk, trying to loosen the old knots inside their hearts, and as they sat down, Alana hugged her knees and looked at her mother with mixture of anger and affection that only a daughter could feel. She said, "Mama, I'm happy for you, really am. If this man makes you feel safe and happy, then support that. But we're not okay with being pushed aside. We survived too much together to be treated like strangers." June listened with a trembling heart because these words were the ones she feared the most, not anger, but disappointment. Pumpkin leaned forward and said, "This secret wedding didn't just shock us, it made us feel like you're slipping away again, like you're falling back into old habits. And that scares us because we love you and we don't want to lose you to secrets and impulsive choices anymore. June nodded slowly, the truth hitting her harder with every sentence. She whispered, I didn't realize how much it would hurt you until I saw your faces at the door. The groom gently placed his hand on June's back and said, we want this family to work. All of us. Not just us two. We want the girls in our lives, at holidays, dinners, celebrations, everything, and we want peace. Pumpkin and Alana studied him carefully, trying to decide whether he meant it or whether he was speaking the right words for the moment, but his eyes looked sincere, grounded, steady. Alana finally asked, Mama, are you happy, like truly happy, or are you just rushing into things because you're scared of being alone? June took a long slow breath and said, I'm happy. But yes, I'm scared too, scared of being alone, scared of repeating my past, scared of not being worthy of love. But when I'm with him I feel calmer, safer, and I wanted to grab that feeling before it disappeared, that's why I rushed. Pumpkin's expression softened a little. She said, we're not angry that you fell in love, Mama. We're angry that you shut us out. You should have trusted us to stand by you, just like we trusted you to stay honest with us. And that's where the hurt came from. June grabbed Pumpkin's hand this time, and Alana leaned in closer, the distance finally shrinking between them. For a few moments the entire family sat silently under the soft lights, each one processing everything in their own way. But at least they were sitting together, at least no one had walked away, and that alone felt like a small victory in a family that had seen too many broken nights. Then June took a deep breath and said, if you'll allow it, I want to celebrate with you tonight. Maybe not like a perfect family, maybe not without mistakes, but just as we are with all our flaws, all our struggles, all our love. Alana smiled softly and said, we're here, Mama. We didn't come all this way to leave now. And Pumpkin nodded, agreeing quietly. They slowly stood up and went toward the small dinner area where a few close friends and relatives were gathered, everyone giving the girls warm smiles because they had all hoped this reunion would happen. And when June walked in holding the hands of both her daughters, the room filled with a silent applause of relief. The groom brought plates of food and set them on the table, trying to make the moment easy and comfortable. Alana giggled softly when he almost dropped a fork and said, well, at least he's not trying too hard to be perfect. And Pumpkin laughed too, saying, yeah, that's a good sign. And for the first time that day genuine laughter filled the space. June watched her daughters laugh with her husband and felt a warmth spreading through her chest, a warmth she had longed for, a warmth she feared she would lose, and seeing them all trying to get along made her believe maybe this new chapter wouldn't be as painful as she had imagined. As they all sat around the table, sharing food, sharing small jokes, trying to ease the hurt, the night slowly started turning into something softer, something hopeful, something the family desperately needed after all the years of chaos. And while the